Hello everybody, and a blessed Easter to you all. Are you ready for our story today? If you're ready, let's begin. In the beginning, the baby was born, and the Word was born, a wordless child. The baby looked up into the face of the Mother Mary and the Father Joseph, and he could already see the cross there. The Mother Mary and the Father Joseph held the baby close and gave the baby everything he needed to grow. And he grew. Jesus grew into a boy. When he was about 12 years old, he went with Mother Mary and Father Joseph to the great city of Jerusalem for one of the holy days. And as they were about to leave on their way home, Mother Mary and Father Joseph realized that Jesus wasn't with them or the other children from their village, and so they hurried back to the city to look for him. And they searched all through the city, through the dark streets, and eventually they found him in the temple. He was talking with the rabbis, the priests. When they asked him why he had done this, Jesus said something very strange. He said, "Didn't you know that I would be in my Father's house?" And they didn't understand, but they didn't forget. And the boy grew into a man. When Jesus was about 30 years old, he went to the river Jordan where his cousin John was baptizing people, and he asked John to baptize him. And after John had baptized him and pulled him out of the dark chaos of the water, Jesus came up into the light. And there were people there that day who said that they saw a dove come down from heaven and come close to him. And there were other people there that day who said that they heard a voice who said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." After Jesus had been baptized, he went across the river Jordan. He went into the desert. He went to learn more about whom he really was and to learn more about what his work was to be. And he was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, and there was very little to eat or drink. And when his time in the desert was finished, he went back across the river Jordan to begin his work. His work was to come close to people, especially close to people that nobody else wanted to come close to. And when he came close to them, they changed. They could see things that they couldn't see before, and they could do things that they couldn't do before. They became well. Jesus also told parables, until one day he realized that he had to become a parable himself, and so he went into Jerusalem for the very last time. Jesus came into Jerusalem for the very last time, riding on a donkey that wasn't even his own. He had borrowed it. The people thought that he was coming to be king, but he was a different kind of king to the one that they were expecting. Still, the people waved palm branches in front of him, which was a sign of a king. And that week, Jesus spent the Monday and the Tuesday and the Wednesday in the temple teaching. And at night, he would go to the Mount of Olives with the 12. Eventually, on the Thursday, the temple guards were going to seize him, but they couldn't find him. And that night, Jesus and the 12 hurried through the dark streets to a house. And they went upstairs to a room where they shared their last supper together. When they had eaten everything that they wanted to eat, Jesus took some bread and he broke it. And he gave thanks to God for it, and he said something like this: "When you break the bread and share it like this, I will be there." And then he took a cup of wine, and he gave thanks to God for it, and he shared it with them, and he said something like this: "When you share the cup of wine like this, I will be there." And they didn't understand what he meant, but they didn't forget, and later they would understand. And then Judas hurried out. And the others sang a hymn, and then they went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus wanted to pray. When he had finished, he joined the 12. And then the temple guards came out of the shadows, and they took him away into the darkness. The night was a confusing one. The next day, Jesus was taken outside of the great walls of the city, and he was crucified. And that afternoon, Jesus died. The sky grew dark. And then he was taken down from the cross, and he was buried in a cave. And they rolled a great stone across the opening to close it like a door. On Saturday, it was so quiet that you could almost hear the earth breathing. On Sunday, it was the woman who had the courage to go to the tomb just to be close to Jesus. They wanted to remember, even if it was sad. When they got to the tomb, they found that the great stone had been rolled back and the tomb was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, and yet he was still with them in a new kind of way, as he is with us, especially in the bread and the wine. When you look at this side, you know that the other side is there. And when you see this side, you know that this side is there. And you can't pull them apart. And that is the mystery of Easter. And that makes all the difference. And so the colors change. But there's something wrong. Here we have the beginning and the middle and the end. If you just have this side, then the story has an end. But there's also this side, and so we can't leave the story in a line. Let's see what we can do. Now, the story can go on forever. Now, I wonder which part of the story you like the best. And I wonder which part of the story you think is the most important. I wonder if there's any part of the story that we can leave out and still have all the story we need. And I wonder which part of the story you are in, or is especially for you today. I'm going to leave you now wondering, and I just wish you a blessed Easter. Keep safe. Until next time, goodbye.